On the news, President Muhammadu Buhari presides over quarterly National Security Council meeting. Lagos begins rebuilding process aftermath of #EndSARS protest destruction. And EndSARS alleged sponsor Adene gets bail in the sum of 1 million naira. Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. President Muhammadu Buhari has promised that he will do all he can to ensure that there is no repeat of #EndSARS protests in Nigeria again. The president said this during the meeting of the National Security Council (NSC) at the State House, Abuja today. The Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Dangiid, disclosed the president's position while briefing State House correspondents after the meeting. Dingyadi said the president reassured the federal government would continue to dialogue with relevant stakeholders in ensuring peaceful socio-economic environment across the country. He added that the Security Council raised concerns about the increasing cases of banditry and kidnapping, especially in the northwest and north-central parts of the country. The council then resolved to better equip the police with modern-day technology to tackle the challenge. Now, the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry into SARS-related abuses continued its sitting on Tuesday, taking petitions from alleged victims of SARS abuse. One of the earlier petitioners, Ndubisi Obechina, who narrated to the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry how she lost her 2-month-old pregnancy while being detained for 22 days at the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, revealed to the panel that the popular billionaire kidnapper Chukwudimeme Onwe Madike, known as Evans, is her brother. Upon inquiry, if she was related to Evans, Obechina answered to the affirmative. She, however, insisted that her invitation and arrest did not lead to the subsequent arrest of her brother, Evans. During the cross-examination, the legal officer further picked holes in the testimony of Obechina, saying there are contradictions in her statement and her testimonies. Izugbe, however, made a rebuttal. She insisted that she was not released on the same day as her husband.
Evans was arrested because of the invitation of Ms. Sobi, who led the team to arrest Evans. It was her that we were able to arrest Evans, through her. Yes. Do you know it was through your invitation to police? We kept you for 5 days, and that was why we were able to arrest your brother. That led to the arrest of Evans. Are you aware? Wasn't true. Please take a look at this document. You and your husband were released on the same day because you were invited to the police. Take a look at that document. It's your bail application. You signed. Your signature is there. Your shorty signature is there. You were granted bail on the 11th, 6th, 2017.
So after 1 week, they left me. My husband was bailed for because of money. He was not able to provide the amount they called for bail. So they now sent him to go and fetch for money to come and bail me. So I stayed extra 1 week in the cell. Before they were able, my husband was able to run around with the money to come and bail me. So we were not released on the same day.
The process of rebuilding Lagos has started with Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo kicking off the process of rebuilding the lost assets of the state. An 8-man team constituted recently by the governor to coordinate the rebuilding and recovery effort was formally inaugurated in Lagos at an event tagged Consultative Forum on Rebuilding Lagos. TV360's Abisola Adebayo now reports.
It is almost a month now that the massive looting and destruction by hoodlums who hijacked the #EndSARS protest rocked many states in Nigeria. For Lagos, the devastation and loss was massive that the state practically needs rebuilding. For this reason, the state government has inaugurated a consultative forum on rebuilding of Lagos. At the inauguration ceremony, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo noted that the country is in dire need of healing. This, he says, is the reason the Judicial Panel of Inquiries were set up across the states to calm the tension and make compensations to victims of abuse where necessary.
Never in the history of our nation has this former capital city and our nation's commercial nerve center experienced such mindless acts of violence and the enormity of destruction that occurred. Perhaps it may be worth noting that the destruction and disruption of life and work in Lagos is a national tragedy and a major economic setback for the nation, even as we face the most difficult challenges, perhaps in a generation, caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, however, says the state has put the terrible incident behind it and is ready to rebuild every asset destroyed by the hoodlums.
We seek to restore the infrastructure that were destroyed, to revive the energy and the confidence of everyone who has been affected by this great loss, to help restore the confidence of the people of Lagos in the infinity potential that Lagos portends. If and when the state government, and we believe we cannot do it by ourselves, we cannot do it alone. We need all the help that we can get.
When I think of what I saw when I went to my constituency, nothing short of sorrow, tears, and blood, it is incumbent upon us, for those of us who have the capacity and the ability in terms of, at our disposal, in terms of government, to do all we need to do. And in that vein, the National Assembly will do everything it can.
Condemning the wanton damages, guests at the event promised to support the initiative to restore the affected assets across the state.
Greater economic growth will be difficult to attain in an environment with poor security. The damage done to police stations in different parts of the country can undermine the provision of adequate security, which is vital to households and to businesses.
The Lagos State Governor said a bill will be sent to the State House of Assembly to enshrine the fund in the laws of the land and give it the necessary legal backing to accomplish its mandate. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Lagos.
And still on the protest-related matter, a magistrate court in Yaba, Lagos State on Tuesday has granted bail to #EndSARS protester Eromesele Adene the sum of 1 million naira. The court granted the bail after it rejected the request by the police for an order to detain him for another 30 days to enable them to conclude investigations into the allegations against the defendant. Adene was reportedly picked up from his Allen Avenue, Lagos home on November 8th for his involvement in the protest. In a series of tweets, Eromesele claimed that he was whisked away by officers from Area F Gulf Command Ikeja. He was later transferred to Police Federal Criminal Investigation Division, FCID in Abuja, and returned to Lagos on Monday night. The protest, which held for 2 weeks, was to press some demands for the scrapping of the notorious police units, special anti-robbery squad, and reformation of the police force. Now, since the return of democracy in 1999, the price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, has adjusted for more than 12 times, from 20 naira per litre on June 1, 2000, and it was slowly but consistently moved up to 170 naira today. In this report, Oyin Adekunle looks at the recent increase and how it has impacted on the prices of food and other commodities, pushing up inflation to 14.23%.
Oil is the major natural resource of Nigeria and the largest source of energy across the country. From industrial use to transportation purposes and so on, the importance of fuel to the Nigerian economy is huge, and an increase in the pump price will always have ripple effects on other businesses. The latest increase of petrol pump price to 170 naira has pushed up the price of goods and services, especially food. This has also resulted in inflation growth of 14.23%, the country's highest in 30 months.
Fuel increase is affecting everybody generally. Sometimes if you consider you going with your car, it pays you to pay transport because you spend more by using your car.
What should form the primary objective of government, of those occupying all this legislative executive power, their main objective is to ensure security and welfare of the people.
Although the federal government has sympathized with Nigerians over the increase, it maintains it is no longer responsible for fixing fuel price.
Our crude oil production level was over 2 million barrels per day. Today, to comply with OPEC cuts and quota, we have reduced production to 1.4 million barrels. Having reduced production to 1.4 million barrels, crude oil is also not selling at an optimal rate. Where do you get the money to continue to subsidize? If government were to continue with subsidy, it means, for example, at some point that we may not even have money after subsidizing petrol to pay salaries.
As logical as government's argument sounds, the organized labor is not buying it. Economists also believe Nigeria may be sitting on a time bomb with the steady rise in prices of food.
If you go to market today, you can get something at X price. You are not sure of getting it at X price tomorrow. So what we need to do more as a nation to lower inflation is to up our production capacity. If that's not being work done, you might not be able to get out of this. And it's a big deal. So we must up our production capacity as a nation. We must produce more of what we consume. We are not food secured. Food security is a major thing. And until we get to that stage, or we pass to that stage, we might continue to have this problem.
Stakeholders say it has become important for governments to get the refineries working again, as this will help push down the cost of exporting crude and importing refined products. Adekunle, TV360, Nigeria.
NLC has warned that there is a limit to what Nigerians can tolerate, adding that there were questions over financiers of political parties known to be the architects of the current woes of the petroleum sector. The Labour Union, while reacting to the recent hike in the pump price of fuel to 170 naira per litre, said the situation is getting unbearable for the masses in the country. Organised Labour, while rejecting the fuel increase, asked the federal government to account for the several turnaround maintenance TAM projects that were undertaken on refineries without any success. In a statement by the president of NLC, Ayuba Waba, in Abuja, Labour cautions that there was a limit to what the citizens could tolerate if this abysmal increases in the price of refined petroleum products and other essential goods and services continue. Now, we are now being joined by an economist, Bona Ikuku, from Abuja to shed more light on the matter. Thank you very much, Mr. Ikuku, for joining us. Now, what do you think about the price of food items increase following the hike in the price of fuel?
Okay, let's look at it.
Now, if you can hear me, Mr. Ikuku, I asked, what do you think about the price of food increasing, just as we've also experienced a hike in the price of fuel?
Now, so many things. I said let's look at it comprehensively, so that it won't be just because the fuel price has increased. That's why it's an ongoing thing. Our outputs have been largely our agricultural outputs have been largely affected due to terrorism. Really affected some part of our food belts where agricultural activities happen a lot. Then the farmers' headers clash. Then again, don't forget the pandemic that locked everybody down, even when we're supposed to enter the farming season. So we're on lockdown for about 5 months, and then again, you see where we are. So whether we like it, which brings me to the next issue, which is the fuel thing. We're talking about the increase in the price of fuel. Now, when there's an increase in the price of fuel, that will actually drive the cost of transportation, which definitely will, get the price to go up. Then again, cost of production when it comes to processing and all has also been affected. So some of these inadequacies and stuff, are the things that generally will affect the price of, food, in Nigeria as we speak.
Now, of course, inflation is on the all-time high now at 14.23%. Now, we are at risk of an economic crisis in Nigeria.
Now, see, it all depends on what the moves that the economic managers will make. Don't forget, this is a population that we have a large population. We're growing at about 2.4%, which is, let's call it what it is. That's over 5 million people every year. So there has to be certain decisions that must be taken now and then urgently and strategically, so that we don't get into major crisis. Because we already have crisis at hand, let me put it that way, when it comes to food security, with the things I listed earlier. Whether you like it or not, we don't have enough grains in our storage. So, and then we have about 82 million hectares of land that is not properly cultivated. So there's a lot going on as far as I'm concerned. And if we're not, I don't want to be an agent of agent of bad news. But the truth is,
I'm afraid, Mr. Ogbonna Ikuku, we need to let you go now. But thank you very much for joining us on News Now.
All right, thanks for having me.
That was Mr. Ogbonna Ikuku joining us from Abuja and shedding more light on the issue of the increase in the price of food and fuel in the open markets. Let's now go on to other stories where Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi has defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. The governor's defection comes after weeks of speculation that he had taken the decision to dump the opposition party for the ruling party. One of the reasons given by the governor for his defection is that the southeast region has suffered what he describes as injustice to the PDP. Umahi contested for the office of the governor in Ebonyi State in 2015 on the platform of the PDP and won. Upon concluding his first term, the governor won his bid to extend his stay in office in the 2019 general elections, again as the PDP candidate. Now, 2.5 million Nigerian children under the age of 5 years are suffering from severe acute malnutrition, SAM. This figure places Nigeria as the country with the second highest number of stunted children in the world. This disclosure was made by Clem Agba, Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, at the flag-off of the 2020 Nigerian Nutrition Week in Abuja. The minister noted that despite concerted efforts by the government in recent years, particularly in the areas of child nutrition and breastfeeding, malnutrition have remained a great challenge. He stated that the challenge must be addressed through the implementation of innovative policies and strategies that are appropriately funded, data-driven, sustainable and optimized in terms of transparency and accountability for the efforts to yield the desired results. Now, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF Chief of Field Office Ibrahim Konte has commended 52 autonomous communities and 2 local governments for the public declaration of abolition of female genital mutilation. UNICEF said it has established offices across 36 states of the Federation and FCT to strengthen the onslaught against all forms of human rights abuses against the girl child, including FGM, which is said violates the rights to privacy, right to life, survival, sexual reproduction and development of the girl child. The International Federation of Women's Lawyers, FIBA, also vowed to henceforth arrest and prosecute parents and guardians found guilty of FGM. The State Director of National Orientation Agency, Vitos Okocha, said all efforts by UNICEF and NOA towards bringing the communities together for declaration has yielded positive results. According to him, for the communities to willingly decide to abolish any tradition or culture, such communities must have consistently participated in their dialogue sessions and realize the negative efforts of this obnoxious practice. We'll take a break here, but still to come, federal government's lift ban on Lufthansa and Air France.
Shegun.
Alpha, say tomorrow still day on.
What's your tomorrow?
Community meeting now.
You know they here, Abi?
Now beggy. See, if we meet for my house, inside parlor, then go no.
This COVID-19 is not a child's play.
If you want to elect a new secretary, we fit to
do one for WhatsApp or for Skype or even on Zoom. Or we just wait.
I will not negotiate.
This social distancing. It is not negotiable.
Not every infected person shows symptoms, but every infected person is contagious. Avoid large gatherings and self-isolate if you think you might have come in contact with a carrier. Your safety and the safety of others is in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur.
Welcome back. Now let's take a recap of some of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the quarterly National Security Council meeting on Tuesday. The meeting, which was attended by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Chief of Staff to the President Ibrahim Gambari, and Secretary to Federation Boss Mustafa, is expected to discuss security concerns in the country. All the service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police were also in attendance. We also told you that the Nigeria Labour Congress is threatening over the recent fuel increase. The Labour Union said the increase will bring untold hardship to Nigerians and will further impoverish workers. We move on now to COVID-19 stories. Latest data released by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, shows that 89 more COVID-19 patients have recovered and have been discharged from various isolation centers across the country. This takes the total number of successfully managed cases in the country to 61,162. No new death was also recorded within the last 24 hours, leaving the fatality toll to 1,163. However, an additional 157 new cases were reported from 9 states, with Lagos topping with 97 infections. On the heels of this, the Lagos State government has issued a strong warning to worship centers and residents of the state not to let down their guard, as Nigeria is yet to win the battle against the pandemic. We'll take a pause here and return with business and stock market review. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Let's now join Oyin Adekunle for the latest in business and stock market review.
Thank you very much, Folashade, and welcome to Business News. Lufthansa, Air France, KLM have been given the approval to operate international flights into Nigeria. Now, this was disclosed by the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, in a series of tweets on his official Twitter handle. Sirika also added that Qatar Airways has been granted approval to resume flights into Abuja. In September, the federal government barred some airlines from entering the country as it resumed international flight operations. At the time, Sirika said Air France and KLM Airlines were not granted approval for flight operations because tourist visa holders are not allowed entry in the airlines' originating countries. Well, we'll take a pause here and return with stock market review. The Nigerian stock market today closed lower with a 1.53% loss on sustained profit-taking activities by investors. Market cap of all listed equities also dipped by about 278 billion naira to close at 17.892 trillion at the close of trading. Now, this performance confirms analysts' projections or fears that the market is expected to witness liquidity after it was overbought last week. Now, this downward trend was impacted by losses recorded in large and medium capitalized stocks like Nestle, which after the close of trading today shed 50 naira. Now, despite Dangote Group emerging the most valuable brand for 2020 today, Dangote Sugar witnessed huge sell-offs which dragged its share price down by 12 naira and 90 kobo. Now, Nigeria Breweries and Cadbury, we see that trading in consumer goods equities was not so impressive today. And in addition to Nestle now, we see Nigeria Breweries and Cadbury completing the list of 4 losers, also closing in the reds today. But on the flip side, we see Corn Oil and Guarantee Trust Bank dominated the gainers chart in value terms, adding a combined 2 naira and 80 kobo. It was followed, of course, by Dangote Sugar and GlaxoSmithKline. Now, in summary, over 9 billion units of shares worth 12 billion naira exchange hands in 8,712 deals. Moving on now to foreign markets, we see that FTSE is losing the steam of the COVID-19 vaccine rally. U.S. stocks also opened lower, while Nikkei, on the other hand, closed above 26,000 benchmark today for the first time in 29 years. And that's it on business. It's back to you now, Folashade.
And thank you very much, Oyin. Now move on to the foreign scene, where Mali held a state funeral on Tuesday for former President Amadou Touré, a symbolic figure who steered the troubled nation to free elections and led it for a decade before being ousted in the coup. Touré, sometimes called Mali's soldier of democracy, died on November 10 at the age of 72 after he had been transferred to Turkey for medical care following heart surgery. A coffin draped in the national flag and borne by 6 soldiers was slowly carried into the center of a square in the capital Mali for ceremonies attended by leaders of the country and by foreign dignitaries. Those in the VIP stand included Ba Ndawa, a former military officer who is currently president of Mali's transitional government, and the vice president, Assimi Gota, who led the August 18 coup. Let's head now for entertainment stories.
Big Brother Naija lockdown star Lekan is making his fans proud by landing massive deals with multinational brands after emerging winner of the reality show. The fierce crooner and president of the Icons, as he is popularly called, has joined the GoTV family. Lekan took to his Twitter page to break the news of his endorsement deal. As expected, Twitter went agog with his followers celebrating and showering praises on him. #GoTV welcomes Lekan is now trending #1 on Twitter. Well, congratulations to Lekan. Actress Regina Daniels has come out to debunk claims that her billionaire husband Ned Nwoko is taking a 7th wife. Social media has been buzzing with news of Nwoko planning to take another wife, a lady simply identified as Sarah after she was seen flaunting what looks like an engagement ring on social media. But Regina denied the claims by sharing on her Instagram stories that the lady in question is her friend. The movie star also claimed the ring, which sparked the rumor belongs to her. Amid several criticism, Ned Nwoko and Regina tied the knot back in 2019 and recently welcomed their first child together. Social media has again gone agog with news of the world's biggest music award. Grammy Awards is set to announce the 2020 nominations. The Recording Academy will announce the nominations by November 24, 2020. At the last edition of the Grammys, a total of 11 Nigerians were Grammy nominees by association or direct work. Of all of them, Burna Boy's African Giant was the biggest headline grabber in the Best World Music Album category. We are, however, looking forward to this year's nominations as stars like Wizkid, Davido has dropped mind-blowing albums. That's all on the entertainment segment of News Now.
And we head now to sports, where Algeria qualified for the African Cup of Nations in 2022 and we get the chance to defend its title at a delayed tournament despite letting a 2-goal lead slip in Zimbabwe and drawing 2-2. The point was still enough to see the African champion through its finals in Cameroon, which were meant to be played in January and February but were rescheduled to early 2022, the same year as the World Cup because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Algeria scored twice in 4 minutes near the end of the first half in Harare through an Andy Delort header from the free kick and Riyad Mahrez's skillful finish. Algeria followed the heels of Senegal, which was the first team to qualify on Sunday. And that's it on our package. Thank you for watching. I am Fola Shade Ogrinde.